Hey, what's up, guys? This is Bryson from DENT Sports. Just wanted to give you guys a little update before we get into this hockey weekly update video. Originally and normally, this video will be only one video, but this week we got into some pretty good discussion about hockey just overall in general, and so we wanted to share our thoughts on a couple of things. So this is as a result of that, the video ended up being super long. So I cut it up into a two-part video. In this first part of this video, you guys are going to be hearing our thoughts on this week's games for the Kings, as well as talk about potential Jonathan Quick rumors potentially being traded. You'll also hear about the Avalanche, the Bruins, and the Red Wings and their week's games since last Tuesday. So every Tuesday we record and do this, and the video will probably come out Wednesday. So anyways, normally it's only going to be a one-part video, but this week we had so much to talk about with other things in hockey, I decided to split this video into two parts. The first part will be coming out today, and the second part will be coming out tomorrow. So hopefully you guys can, enjoy both of those videos. We didn't plan on it being a two-part video, so it's not like structured to flow completely smoothly. I kind of just went in and like cut it off somewhere. So please bear with us on that one. But really good stuff here, and really good stuff to talk about. So, and the things that we talked about in the second part of this video is really going to it really, I felt, needed its own video, because it really is relatable and seriously good stuff brought up. So anyway, I wanted to separate this into two separate videos, so hopefully you guys enjoy this. But for now, enjoy part one, and we'll see you guys later. Hey, what's up, guys? Got another new video here for you. This is DENT SPORTS. I'm Bryson.
I'm Steve. I'm Don.
And we've got our weekly hockey NHL video for you today. Like I said in the past video, we're going to try to bring out, for the time being, one video for hockey and one video for, basketball for sure on this channel. If there's news and stuff like that comes up with either one, you might see two, but for the most part we're just going to try to do like one video a week with each of the different sports, and then on top of that, make sure you check out DENT SPORTS for breakdown of all the different biz going on over there. So definitely go and check that out. But anyway, yeah, so we're going to talk about some hockey today. Obviously we're going to bring up some Red Wings and some Bruins and some Avalanche. But we're also going to mention a little bit about the Kings, even though my brother's not in this video. So I figured we'd go ahead and start there. I know that they are coming off a game here tonight where they're up 2-0 at the time of this recording. So if it goes like the rest of our teams, they'll probably end up losing that one. They'll probably end up losing that one to the Wild.
They'll lose it in overtime.
If it goes like most times. But
well, the thing that drives me nuts, and will be prime example of this, is that it's probably Quick's probably kept them in the game, right?
Yeah.
I'm probably to think that why it's only 2-0. Mm-hmm. If Quick's not there, I'm guessing this is probably a 4-1 game or 3-1 game for Minnesota. Yeah. So again, to have the rumor talks, I guess, that I know that you brought up to me about Quick being on the trade block, I'm like, good luck with that, because that's a huge piece. I mean, that's the guy pretty much also carried him to the couple cup wins. So to have him just kind of discarded rough shot out of LA, it seems kind of weird to me. But again, I know that, just like we talk about with Arenado and all the other things, that sometimes the big pieces have to move. Yep. And whatever they're trying to do is whatever the owner and the organization wants. But to me, as a opponent, usually sometimes to the Kings, good. Get rid of him. I don't want to see him anymore.
Yeah.
You know, but as far as as far as the player though, I mean, like I said, you can't ask for a better goalie.
No,
especially these days.
No, I would agree completely. I mean, he's been, if you look up goalie in the dictionary, his picture is right there. So he's pretty much an amazing player and has been. And like Don said, I mean, he's pretty much the reason they had some championships. So kind of shocking news, but not, today's day and age, especially, it seems like with the amount of moves that are always being made now, and big talent leaves and comes back, goes. This constant, carousel of people moving in and out. But especially in a big market like LA, I would have figured that. Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things. But yeah, I mean, if he was to leave there, I'm sure a lot of the fans won't be happy about that move.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so, for sure. For this week, we recorded the last video around the Tuesday of last week, in which they ended up losing to the Sharks in overtime on that game, or that day. And then they had another game against the Sharks after that where they won 6-2. And then their game on Saturday against the Wild got postponed for COVID for some reason, I guess. And then they ended up playing them here tonight on Thursday, in which they're winning. So I didn't really watch too much of it. I did actually happen to watch a little bit of their Sharks game. And they actually look pretty good from what I watched. I mean, obviously 6-2, so they must have been doing something right. But, they look pretty good. And, I think this is a team that is maybe going to take a little bit more in terms of transforming from, where they are now to getting to be competitive. But I think that, if they decide to, just trade away their goalie, then we'll see what happens. But, I mean, I don't think that this is a team that's, miles away from being competitive. I think in strides they show that they can play. I just think they maybe need a couple more pieces here and there to really improve, because I think offensively they struggle sometimes, and against the better teams especially, it's really noticeable. But I don't think that they're miles away. And the coach that they had come in there, I think he's done a nice job. So, it's kind of unfortunate to hear that, they might just be blowing it up essentially. Because, I mean, you get rid of the goalie. They might, I don't know. It's just so frustrating, to be honest. I'm not even a Kings fan, but it's just so frustrating because it's like I always talk about in football and basketball for that matter. It's lateral moves. Yeah, this guy could be good, but at the very best, he's probably going to be as good as Quick is. So are you getting better? No, because you're just replacing you're filling needs, but you're creating the need. Mm-hmm. You have a person that's filling the position. So when you're rebuilding and you're trying to go through that process to then turn around and get rid of the people that are actually doing their jobs and say, "Oh, well, we think this guy's good." Well, that may be true, but you don't need to get rid of this guy to find out that he's not right, because you have somebody that's doing it. And especially in this case, their goalie is one of the best in the freaking league. So even if this guy that comes in turns out to be a good goalie and has promise or whatever, you already had the best. So what are the chances he's going to be even as good as him? Probably not very good. No. So it's just like, this isn't, even if he turns out to be good, that's not filling a need. That's creating a need where there didn't need to be one, because you already had the guy. Yep. So it's just a lateral move. It's not getting better. It's just staying stagnant. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, you're not winning. You're not doing anything like that. So, like I said, I'm not even a Kings fan, but it pisses me off, to be honest. Yeah. It's stupid. Stupid. Yeah.
And, well, like I said, it's just like, as most of our teams know, that, when that does happen, when you do pack him up and send him on his way, reality will hit.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden you'll be like, "Oh, we can't stop anybody. Yeah. We're giving up 5 goals a night." Well, there you go.
Exactly. Well, and the other thing is, if he does have a lot of promise, then why are you trying to get rid of the best guy that he could learn from.
Yeah.
Can you learn from a better person than somebody that's already like the best at what they do?
Yeah.
Can you ask for somebody better to, pick tips off of?
Yeah.
No, let's trade him away and just throw him into the fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
It's just,
Well, again, like I said, I mean, and you can have these things where like, oh, he looks good in a 1 or 2 game stretch, but is it over the 50 to 80 plus games over the season? That's where quick every night out, exactly what you're going to get pretty much.
Yeah. Well, and especially it's the same thing with these other sports too. It's like, there'll be games like in football, there'll be games where Pittsburgh doesn't look so great. Mm-hmm. But when you come and meet them in the playoffs, you're in for it pretty much. I mean, very rarely does somebody just plow through Pittsburgh. It very rarely happens. I know it kind of did this year, but very rarely is that the case. No matter what they look like in the regular season, come playoff time, they're going to be a monster to deal with. Yep. And that's the same thing here. It's like, during the regular season, this new goalie or whatever might look good, but you're dealing with a different monster when these teams are in the playoffs. Yeah. And he's going to be over his head because he doesn't have an offense like, some of the other teams like the Avalanche or even the Bruins have to, hey, if you're struggling, it's okay. We got you. They don't really have that. Yeah. So he's just going to get lit up.
I mean, unfortunately, I look at the goalie like I look at the quarterback position for football. I mean, it's basically the main piece on the floor that you need to have be good. Mm-hmm. So, with that being said, I totally understand what you're saying. To give away the best is kind of like, why are we doing that? Mm-hmm. But from the other side of things, I can understand if they're able to get a couple of pieces that are going to be starters that maybe help out the defense or, can be impact players where they didn't have before, and the guy that's in the goal is decent. I don't necessarily think it's a horrible move. Because it all depends on what you're getting in return. If you can get 2 starters out of this deal that are good players, they might be further ahead.
Yeah, I don't know.
Truthfully. Not to say, obviously we've already said how great Quick is. There's nobody better. He's proven that, for several years now. But I'm just saying, I don't know what the situation is locker room wise or, what's going on behind the scenes. If you watch him play, it doesn't look like he's playing any less hard than he has been, no. Right?
No, tonight he's got, almost 20 saves. Nothing through.
Right. No, exactly.
So again, it's the same thing, though. Like we said, it goes to the same. You can ask the Patriots this year, hey, how'd you guys do with your new quarterback? You know what I mean? That team was completely night and day.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's just so rough, and it's just so hard to get those guys. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like you said, it's just like those elite quarterbacks. It's hard, and then guess what? Once they're gone, it's like we say, good luck, because you're gonna get some nights where these guys are letting in 4 or 5 goals.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I'm not here to argue the points. I'm just trying to say that if they were to get pieces that maybe improve the team in other spots, it may be okay.
Yeah.
But that's the problem though. Is that's at the very best. It could turn out to be something that doesn't kill them. But
look at the record right now though. They're not playing all that great. Now, is it his fault? No, not completely.
I doubt it.
But my point is that if you're losing games anyway...
Yeah. Obviously, they need defensemen.
Right. They need players.
Because they're obviously not... They're letting things go through to the goalie.
Right. I look at that just like Stafford. Stafford, great quarterback. Yeah. Well, how much did he win? Hardly ever. Is it his fault? No. But it is what it is.
Yeah. He needed a defense.
Right. It is what it is. And that's why I say, as bad as it could be that they let him go, it could eventually maybe help the team as a whole, I'm just saying, to where they got more players that can maybe, take some of the sting out of it. Yep. And then if the guy is decent, because I can't say that. Detroit just did it. But I was going to say, usually you don't make a move like that without feeling fairly confident about something that you have waiting in the wings or whatever. I mean, you're not just going to cut the best goalie in hockey and not feel comfortable about something.
Well, I'm sure that they feel fine with him, but I mean, you're coming from the best, so it's like even if he's good, he's not going to be that, and that's a piece that you don't need to fill. So, now what if he doesn't work out? Now you then need a goalie on top of everything.
But you're still losing regardless. So until they get the rest of the team better, it's a point that's kind of you're just on a seesaw, going back and forth. I mean, it's the same thing. Well, we need a goalie. Well, guess what? We don't have anything else, so what gives the goalie doing us?
Well, yeah, but I think it's be a lot easier to get offensive players than it is to find the best goalie.
No, I would agree.
I mean, you could go out in the offseason and sign some people that are going to help you overall team, but finding a goalie that, can block 40 shots out of 50, 40 shots out of 42, you might not find that around any corner, and if you do, you're going to have to pay him a ridiculous amount. I don't know. I'm just saying. I think it's ridiculous. I'm sick of it.
No, there's definitely something to be said for that.
If you keep on filling positions that you already had filled, you're just never going to get better. It's like putting freaking Flex Seal on one end of the boat and then putting a hole through the other. In the meantime, I mean, it's essentially that's what you're doing. You're just creating more holes and then filling those, but in the process.
But I mean, the point is though is that obviously they need more than just him in order to win.
Yeah,
that's the whole key. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. It's not about Quick so much as it is the pieces around him that need to get better. So, I don't know. It's like you said. I mean, it's sickening in some regards to see that, hey, we're going to make this guy the fall guy.
Yeah.
When he's been the staple of your team.
Yeah, he is the franchise.
Right. He is the franchise.
I mean, he's been the franchise probably. Next it's Gretzky, right?
Right. Oh no, you're right. You're exactly right. I'm not here suggesting at all that it's a great.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to justify it on their side.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, again, there's some brilliant GM, that like most of our teams have, that's trying to make this decision.
Yeah.
and getting rid of, like I said, the face of the franchise.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say you got to try pretty hard because.
Well, I mean,
the fans aren't going to want to hear it.
No, I mean, and there's always the scenarios. I mean, look what happened with the Packers with Favre and Rodgers.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody thought getting rid of Favre was the right move.
Mm-hmm.
But what'd they do? They backed into the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
And it didn't close, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that kind of stuff does happen.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to need it to, I think.
No, I agree with you, Bryson. I mean, I understand completely what you're saying, and I agree with it. But I do think that just because they're trading them doesn't necessarily mean that the Kings are going to suck the rest of their life. I think,
No, eventually the cycles hopefully will run through, but.
Right. I mean, and I just think that there's a lot more involved in it than just what we're discussing. So
yeah, we'll join them on the LA Kings carousel, just like the Broncos since Manning. Yeah, we've had a great quarterback. Well, good luck.
Yeah, the only difference is that you lost Manning due to retirement.
Yeah.
Not trading him away.
Yes, exactly. But
No, and here's the thing too. It kind of goes along with it. It's like, okay, well, got rid of your best goalie, but we brought in a couple offensive players. Okay, now we're losing in shootouts.
Yeah.
Rather than losing 2-0.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's like, what kind of hockey? What kind of brand of hockey do you want?
Exactly.
To see?
Yeah, we're losing 6-5 instead of 1-2.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they'd rather see that because I would think that more scoring would pique interest more than watching a defensive matchup where you're like, oh my God, I can't go to the bathroom because the one goal that's scored in this game might happen while I'm in there. Because the rest of the time we're just going to be sitting here watching people skate around because no one can make anything.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we spend enough time on this team, especially when the person that's really the fan isn't even here. So anyway,
that's the biggest news, though. You know.
Yeah,
kind of,
no, exactly. So let's move on to the Red Wings.
Speaking of good teams.
Yeah. Speaking of great teams,
Good situations.
good teams, and great management.
Good goaltending.
Yeah. Speaking of great goalies, yeah. So the Red Wings, you know, since our last video, they've had 4 games. They lost to Miami, to Nashville, and then they lost to the Blackhawks in overtime. And then they also beat the Predators one time in Nashville. So, you know, a pretty, you know, not an easy stretch of games, especially when 3 of them were on the road. Definitely not easy opponents. So, you know, the fact that they came away and lost most of those games is, you know, I'd say about average. Yeah, exactly. Not surprising. The only thing that really is surprising is that they took one of them to overtime. But apart from that, I'm not surprised to see that they lost most of those. The fact that they won one, you know, that's good for them. But, you know, like I said, not really anything surprising here. I mean, they were projected to be one of the worst teams. And,
They're living up to it so far.
Yeah, they're doing everything they can to
right on pace.
Yeah, they're doing everything they can to make sure that they don't disappoint.
Yeah,
that's the only consistency they got going on right now, right?
Yeah. So
yeah, we know we're going to lose a lot of games. That's all we can tell you.
Yeah, but I think it was the game against the Blackhawks. You know, I was actually pretty impressed with them, how they were performing in that game. You know, like I said, they ended up losing it in overtime, but you know, from some of the parts that I watched of it, they actually looked pretty good. Mm-hmm. And then they just, you know, typical Detroit fashion, found a way to, you know, lose the game in the end. But, you know, when you're not a very good team, that's how a lot of their games go, to be honest. There'll even be games where they get out to a fast start and then they blow it. And that's kind of what happened here, because I think, if that's the game I remember, they were ahead for the whole time and then let them back in it at the end and then lost it in overtime. So, I mean, it's unfortunate, but like I said, when your team's not good, then it happens.
No, they got some nice young talent, but they don't have the depth. And, you know, I mean, and I don't want to throw stones at the goalie because, I mean, literally, that guy's seeing so many shots. I mean,
I envy
seriously. I mean, I've watched a couple of their games, and
I haven't seen this many free shots since Bar Rescue. I mean,
yeah.
Exactly. Well, I was gonna say since Carson Wentz quarterbacked the Eagles.
No, but I was just saying that.
Yeah, that too though. Bar Rescue, yeah.
I mean, that's a good analogy, really. But I mean, I've seen a couple of their games, and you wonder, is there anybody playing defense? You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's seeing shots after shot after shot. Mm-hmm. You're only going to hold out so many. I mean,
yeah.
So I mean, I can't. It's hard for me to even assess really where they are in the goalie position because, you know, when you're seeing, you know,
40.
Yeah, when you're seeing 40 shots and you're throwing 10 at it on the other end, I mean, what do you expect to see? I mean, you're going to get beat almost every night. So, I mean, nothing that's going on right now with the Red Wings is surprising, especially given the state of Michigan sports. I mean, every team is just garbage. So, I mean, nothing is shocking. I mean, like I said in the DENT SPORTS video, I mean, all I can do is put my trust in Yzerman, in that he's making the moves to try to turn it around. Nobody would want to have Detroit be better than he would, because he spent all of his years there, and he understands, you know, the city and all this kind of stuff really well, and the history of the Detroit hockey, and the success that they've had. So I mean, if anybody's going to lead them to redemption, I would hope it would be him. But we'll see how it plays out. And like I said in the last video too, it used to be where Detroit was kind of a hot spot for players to want to go to where it was like, yeah, I mean, we'd see all these guys that were like superstars on other teams, and they'd leave their team and go to Detroit. Mm-hmm. Bob Proberts and some of these guys.
Chelios.
Chelios. Yeah, a lot of those type players, they ended up in Detroit because it was like the place to be. And now we're not seeing that.
You're on the other end. They're leaving Detroit to go to those.
Right, exactly.
Go to those
so
teams.
We're on totally opposite end of things.
Yeah.
And so I mean, it's definitely a a difference in the way things are happening from what it used to be. So, I mean, but again, I think they got the right guy in position to make the changes to hopefully get them back to some decent hockey.
Yeah.
So that's about all I got for that.
Yeah, I mean, happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the nature of the circle of life per se, with these teams. So I mean, like I said, I know the Avs have been in it, so and we're finally getting, I think, on the other side of it.
And
so
the life of the mid market too, as well. So that's kind of where it's at. But I mean, overall, I think given a couple more years, I think the Red Wings will get decent. Hopefully.
yeah. Like I said, time will tell, right? I mean, it's just what it is. I mean, we always hope for the best, but
prepare for the worst.
Yeah, reality hits in the face, and usually it hits hard in the face, and it's like, dang.
From that point, you're just pucked.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. But speaking of the Avs getting to the other side of it,
other side of COVID.
Let's see if they can get to the other side of the hospital where they're actually checking out instead of checking in, because that seems to be all they seem to be doing right now.
Yeah, we were. I think on the last video, like I said, we just got the COVID from Minnesota because they had it.
Yeah.
And then now we had to run through ours, and then now we get to come back this week, and we get to play the Knights. So, I mean, life is great. And then we're down like 6 or 7 people.
Yeah.
At least one of them's a backup goalie, but it's still our number 2 goalie, right? So it gives the first guy a break, when he needs it. But I mean, as far as like the first game, they lost 1-0. They were competitive in it, and so I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, that sucks. I think it's actually a great performance, coming off a week and a half or 2 weeks of non-playing. To pretty much skate with one of the best teams in the league, and we got another one tonight. Actually, it's currently going on, and they were up 1-0, and then it was 1-1, and then they were up 2-1, and now it's 2-2. So again, if they can squeeze a point out of this, I'd be happy with that. I mean, it'd be great to get 2 points out of it, but if they can take the Knights again to the brink and be able to nab a point from them, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So, and like you guys said before, with injuries, other people are playing, right? So once those other people come back, that should only help, right?
Your depth just improved by quite a bit.
So if these kids and these other players can, like you said, if they can skate to 1 goal wins or 1 goal losses against the Knights, imagine it when we have the other 5 or 6 pieces that actually matter with it. So.
Oh yeah.
True that.
Well, actually, they just scored. So how about 3-2? So again,
if 39 seconds left. Too, so
exactly. If we don't pull Game 7 against the Stars in the playoffs last year, we lose it with 4 minutes to go. Well, it should be good.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, he basically said it all. I mean, when you're injured that much, all you can really do is just hope to compete, and for the most part it seems like they've been able to do that, and right now they're seeming to do more than that, and again against one of the premier teams in this league right now. So as a fan, you can't really ask for more than that, and as a player too, on the team, just keep out there, or keep staying out there and keep fighting, next man up mentality. And it seems like a lot of these players that maybe don't get as much time because of, these other guys being out, they're getting more time. Seems like they're bought in as well. Yeah. So, well-coached team, and very well done by them. And, especially coming off of that rest too, on top of it, they weren't able to, get together and do much or anything. So they're just like, oh, good luck out there. And hey, by the way, you got 7 people missing. So yeah, and then here's the best team in hockey. So you guys are gonna have a good time tonight. Yeah. But they're doing, they've done an outstanding job. And like I said, I think it speaks volumes about the coaching staff that he's got everybody that comes in. It doesn't seem like they're missing them. I mean, they may not win all the time, so maybe it is evident that they're missing people. But I'm just saying, I mean, you can't ask for more than competing on a given night, especially in the regular season. You're going to lose games. I mean, it just happens. So, yeah.
No, it doesn't happen with Detroit usually.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I mean, let's get real here. Come on. No, but so let's move on to
the Bruins.
The Boston Bruins.
Tuukka. Yeah, Tuukka Rask. Tuukka time, mother buffs.
Tuukka my cup.
Speaking of shitty goalies.
Yeah. You see, Boston's a little different without Tuukka, right?
Yeah. When we got Hauptalai or whatever his name is, Hauptai or whatever, in there, it's a little bit different for sure.
Yeah.
But so
I was gonna say they were off and on with the, I guess what Buffalo.
The Sabres
protocol and
yep,
and here and there.
Yep, and then we missed a couple games against Buffalo, so that kind of sucked. But then we came back and we had back-to-back games against the Rangers, which that's kind of like, oh great, what a time to come back in here and get the New York biz. Which, oh my God, speaking of the biz, the game that we had Wednesday night against the Rangers, what a load of freaking crap that was. I mean, seriously, they spent about 10 to 15 minutes reviewing one of the goals in that game where the puck clearly crossed the line or whatever, and it was obviously a goal. They spent 10, 15 minutes on it and still got it wrong. And, I mean, it was just absolutely ridiculous. And then, wouldn't you know it, that as a result of that, we didn't get the goal there. And so instead of it being 3-1, it was 2-1. And the Rangers, boom, tie it up no less than a minute later. It was a tie game. And it was like, oh, crap, here we go again. But somehow, once it got to overtime, Brad Marchand put an end to that one and said, see ya, boys. Good night. That's what we have him for. So thank you, Brad, because truth be told, I mean, it was kind of a blessing in disguise because you get more points for winning a playoff game. I mean, not playoff, overtime. So I guess it was kind of a blessing, but it shouldn't have ever gotten to the overtime. I mean, that was absolutely the biz crap, whatever the hell you want to call it. That was upsetting. And I mean, and I don't even watch too much hockey, but that was upsetting. And, man, that was horrible. But, apart from that, though, we then came back a couple nights later, another really tough game against the Rangers, and we beat them 1-0. A total defensive just masterpiece, essentially, because offensively we weren't doing too much either. So it was really well done. And then, yeah, exactly. And then, we lost to the Islanders 2-4, which, that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. I mean, we had two very tough games against the Rangers, and then, of course, it's a road trip, too, because we played in New York, and then, of course, the Islanders are also in New York, so it was another game, plus it was a back-to-back. We played the Rangers on Friday, and then we played the Islanders on Saturday, so, I mean, the fact that we lost that game, it happens, so I'm not too upset about it. Overall, though, we're playing pretty good hockey this year. And then our next game, and then we were supposed to have a game yesterday, but it got postponed due to the Devils having some issues. But as far as I know, the game on Thursday is good to go. I think they should be cleared up by then. So, hopefully they can stay away from Pepper Lou and, watch Bar Rescue at home with us.
Yeah, exactly.
As opposed to going down there.
Yeah. So. And then after that, they get to travel actually out here, right? For a Sunday game, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. We get to come out here and play the Flyers here in Tahoe. So it's like just a super long road trip. But the weird thing is that that's listed as a home game for us. So
yeah,
I guess we kind of got bizzed on that because, I don't know. But because then after that, we have to go fly back, play the Islanders, and then the Rangers 2 more times. So we're going to be literally having basically the
amount. Well, that makes up for the New York. I mean, New York or Boston's not that far.
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
But, I mean, literally, because the Sabres series got canceled, we spent the entire month of February on the road.
In New York?
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't have a single home game in the month of February, so that kind of sucks. But whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah,
It's
anytime,
in New
anywhere.
York.
That's all that matters.
Anytime, anywhere. Exactly.
So.
But yeah, I mean, overall, I can't complain. I mean, we got one of the best records in hockey, playing at a very competitive high level. You know, some of the people that we had last year are no longer on the team, like Chara and some of these guys. I haven't really noticed too much difference without them being there. I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, it didn't make any difference, but for the most part, it seems like the people that came in and replaced those guys are doing more than enough to keep us where we were at least. If not, maybe we're performing a little better this year, it seems like, at times. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy overall. Can't complain. And, you know, as far as Tuukka goes, that's how far we'll go. But, again, we're also a team that has some offense as well. So it's kind of nice because, you know, we can do the shootout thing for the most part, and we can also play the 1-0 game.
Yeah.
So it kind of depends on the night. But, yeah.
No, I agree. They're definitely set up pretty well for the long haul. As long as Tuukka stays healthy, I think, you know, they're going to be a handful for anybody. They got plenty of firepower defensively. They seem to be pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a lot of good things going on right there for Boston. So, I mean, again, we always talk about the injury thing, but I mean, it's evident in all sports. I mean, you lose a couple guys like the Avalanche have. I mean, you're just hoping to play competitive hockey every night, keep the record somewhat intact, to where when you get to the playoffs, you got, you know, a decent seed or whatever. And Red Wing, you'd hope you can even get to the playoffs, but you know, the Avalanche are going to be probably a top, you know, 1, 2, or maybe 3 seed if they, you know, were to fall off a little bit, but still. You know, and Boston's usually, you know, in the top 4 teams.
Yeah.
Probably every year. So I would expect that to continue on.
Yeah, you're going to see the normal Boston, Tampa, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Yeah. No, exactly. So.
Yeah, and I've seen enough of Pittsburgh this year.
Washington.
Yeah, and Washington, yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I've seen enough of Pittsburgh for a while. I can go ahead and take a break from them.
You know, Boston's setting up pretty good right now. They're playing good hockey. And, I mean, that's the one thing I like about the Bruins more than anything is you get a consistent product out there every season. You know, I mean, the good teams that are at the top all the time, that's what you're seeing. I mean, there isn't any dump off like what I'm seeing in Detroit right now. When you go from the kings of the league to fucking being nowhere. You know, and that's not what we're seeing. You know, Boston, like you said, they lost a couple of players, plug and play, boom. You got some guys coming in that can play, and they really haven't missed a beat. I mean, they probably would have the same record if they still had the guys from last year. So
pretty much.
I mean,
yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, consistency in the East. I mean, I mean, you're looking at Boston and Pittsburgh. I mean, nobody else. I mean, like you said, you didn't hear Washington for a while until just recently. The Flyers have been at the bottom for years.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking like Lindros and Hextall. You know, back them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they've been in the doldrums.
Yep.
You know, Buffalo's kind of in the Red Wings, right? You know, ever since Hasek's gone, never been the same. But like you said, that model of consistency has been Boston and Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's such a nice thing to know every year. You come into the season, you're like, okay, what seed in the playoffs are we going to be this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, opposed to. Like,
are we going to make it?
You know,
how far is the drop off going to be from last season?
Yeah.
Where we did something. Yeah.
You know, well, it's like, you know, we're going to be a lottery pick in the draft, or
yeah.
I mean, that's basically where we're at. I mean, it's like there's so many. And the problem is that for the Detroit fans is they've been in that position. They were the Boston.
Mm-hmm.
They were that.
Yeah.
You know, to where it wasn't a question of if they were going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
It wasn't a question of just what seed were they going to be, and you know, is anybody going to stop them before they get to the finals?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that was pretty much Red Wing hockey for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And and now it's just such a sad state of affairs.
It's a wasteland.
It's like,
Tumbleweeds going through.
We're talking about playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. Now you're in the I want winners category, right?
I mean, it's a tough pill to swallow for Red Wings fans because they're not. I mean, this isn't Red Wing hockey we're seeing anymore.
Yeah, now they're coaching to win.
Yeah,
Got the systems in place.
Yeah, exactly.
exactly.
They're trying to get the systems going.